How's it going, guys? So, with all the controversy that happened on last night's card surrounding Sergey Kovalev's robbery against Andre Ward, there was one fight that I forgot to talk about. I actually meant to do a post-fight video. I just totally forgot all about it. Oleksandr Gvozdyk had a fairly impressive stoppage victory against veteran Isaac Chilemba. What's interesting about this is in Isaac Chilemba's previous fight, he had went the distance with Sergey Kovalev, and he had also been the distance with people like Tony Bellew. So, the thing about Chilemba, he was known for being very durable. He was known for being a spoiler. He was known for being a guy that doesn't get stopped and that always goes the distance when he needs to. And, going into this fight was seen as a very big test for Gvozdyk, because a lot of people wondered whether or not he'd be able to get the stoppage, because since nobody else had been able to stop Chilemba before, it was an open question. Now, the biggest names that Gvozdyk has fought so far were people like Tommy Karpensky and Najib Mohammadi. Now, those are guys who have been around for a long time. Tommy Karpensky, you might remember him for being a fighter that fought Nathan Cleverly several years ago, and Nathan Cleverly dominated him every round and went the distance. He also got stopped by Adonis Stevenson, and he had a fairly close split decision victory against Chad Dawson. I remember watching that fight. It was a fight that could have gone either way, but I thought he just edged it. And Gvozdyk managed to stop him, so that was quite impressive. For a guy that was only in like his 11th professional fight to do that. And Najib Mohammadi again, just a kind of a reused, seasoned opponent, a guy that's been around for a while, a guy that's been stopped several times. So like I said, going into this Chilemba fight, Gvozdyk really hadn't fought anybody. Anybody that you could consider top 10, anybody that you could consider a legitimate contender. So this certainly was a big step up, and I was very impressed. To me, Gvozdyk, he was applying very smart, intelligent pressure. He was taking the initiative in the ring. He was working the body when he needed to. Every time that Chilemba would drop his left hand, and that's something that Chilemba does a lot in his fights. Gvozdyk actually took advantage of it, and he was landing a lot of headshots. And also, there was even a moment in the fight, I can't remember which round, but he had Chilemba up against the ropes, and he just started to spam punches, and he really wasn't putting any power behind the punches. He was just looking for volume, because he knew he had this guy in front of him that was looking to survive. So he just thought to himself, I really just put some pressure on this dude and just let my hands go, and he really did. And he threw a lot of punches. He ended up busting up Chilemba's nose, and yeah, Chilemba went back to the corner. He was shaking his head. He looked upset. He looked disappointed with himself, and he just gave up in the corner. He told Roy Jones that he didn't want to fight no more. So they pulled him out. So yeah, good, impressive performance by Gvozdyk against a very experienced and cagey opponent. It'll be interesting to see where Gvozdyk goes from here. Perhaps a future opponent for Andre Ward or Sergey Kovalev. Who knows? The problem is, and again, I hate to talk about politics. I'm so sick of it. But this kid's Ukrainian. He's fighting in. He's fighting in America. All his fights have actually taken place in America. He's living in America now. I think that the best thing for him to do in terms of what's better for his career is to leave America, because when he gets a world title fight, if he gets a world title fight, and if it takes place in America, he ain't going to get the win. Okay, the politics are not going to favour him. Okay, he's Eastern European. It has been firmly established now that American fans, well, most of them anyway, American fans and American politics have a clear racial bias against Eastern Europeans. We saw that again with the Sergey Kovalev Andre Ward fight. It didn't matter what Sergey Kovalev did; he was never going to get the decision. So yeah, it would be within this guy's best interest to try and get himself a home fan base. Go over and fight in Ukraine, or maybe fight in Russia or somewhere nearby. I don't know. Just fight in Europe. Because boxing is regulated properly in Europe. In America, no disrespect to my American subscribers, but American boxing is becoming a corporate joke. It really is. So, hopefully this guy leaves America and, tries to build himself a home fan base somewhere. But enough about politics. How do I feel that this guy would do now? Like, if he were to be thrown in the ring with any of the top light heavyweights now, how would he do? A fight with him and Adonis Stevenson would be interesting. I would probably favour Stevenson at this point because I just think that, with the gap of experience, I don't think that Gvozdyk has fought anybody with the kind of sharp, powerful left hand that Adonis Stevenson has. That's one thing that you can never underestimate about Stevenson is he's got that really concussive left hand, and he can end a fight at any moment with it, and he can carry the power late too, which is something that this guy's never dealt with before. So going from a fighter like Chilemba to then fighting Stevenson, it is a step up. I think it's an interesting fight, but I would favour Stevenson at this point just based on experience. In a couple of fights, this guy might be ready, but as of now, I don't think he would beat Stevenson yet. As far as obviously Andre Ward is the unified champion now. I think that again, I think it's just too big a step up. I don't think that Gvozdyk has anywhere enough experience to deal with a guy as crafty and as experienced and as tactful as Ward. Plus, the fight would be in the Oracle Arena in Oakland with probably 3 judges from California and Ward's uncle as the referee. So it just he would need a knockout to win if it happened, and he hasn't shown to me to have elite level power. So I'm not interested in that just yet. For this guy to have a legitimate chance of winning that fight, he would need to have a few 12-rounders, I think. I would need to see him go the distance a few times against some, very experienced and, top 10 opponents before seeing him fight someone like Ward. A fight with Kovalev, he'd probably get stopped against Kovalev from what I've seen. And, I suppose some of you are going to say, well, Kovalev couldn't stop Chilemba, and, this guy was able to stop Chilemba. But let's not forget, it wasn't a knockout, okay? The guy quit in the corner, okay? Chilemba quit because of the pressure, whereas against Kovalev, I felt that Chilemba was in survival mode exclusively in that fight. Like, when he showed up to fight Kovalev, he was there to go the distance. That's why he was there, whereas against Gvozdyk, Chilemba was opening up a little bit. He was, at least early in the fight, he was letting his hands go at times. He was looking for opportunities, and I felt that he just the younger, fitter, and higher volume man was able to overwhelm him and just made him quit. But I still think that if this dude was to jump in the ring with Kovalev, I think Kovalev would stop him. Again, just too big a gap in experience, a big gap in power. And I don't think that this guy's ready. Who else is there at light heavyweight? Obviously, you've got Bernard Hopkins is fighting Joe Smith Jr. soon. I've got a prediction for that one coming. But apparently that's going to be his last fight. So, a fight with Bernard Hopkins probably isn't likely. Obviously, you've got Shabransky. Hey, that would be interesting because Shabransky is Ukrainian too. They could have that fight in Ukraine. It would be very big over there. Two unbeaten Ukrainian prospects in the light heavyweight division. Why not? It's a great fight. I don't know who would win that. I'm not actually that convinced by Shabransky. I've seen some of his fights. He's a good fighter, but he makes a lot of mistakes. I think Shabransky, he doesn't really have great technique yet. He certainly could improve. He's certainly got all the talent, but he makes too many little schoolboy errors in there that I think that he'll need to touch up on. And I don't know who I'd favour in that fight. I think it's a very interesting fight, a very intriguing fight. Obviously, you've got Nathan Cleverly. Now, listen. If any light heavyweight in boxing, and I hate to be disrespectful to Nathan Cleverly because I like the dude, but any light heavyweight contender that wants a world title, all you got to do is fight Nathan Cleverly, okay? Nathan Cleverly is as beatable as they come. Like I said in my post-fight video for the Cleverly-Bramer fight, that was probably the luckiest and most anticlimactic way to win a world title possible. Bramer was clearly winning the fight. He was clearly the better fighter, but he had an injury plus his age and all that. He ended up pulling out in the corner, and it was really unfortunate because I think that Bramer is certainly a much more worthy champion than Cleverly is. So, I would put it this way: even though Cleverly just beat Bramer, I would take Bramer to beat Gvozdyk any day of the week, but I would take Gvozdyk to beat Cleverly. I think that Cleverly, he's just too wide open. He gets hit too easily. What he does have is he's got good hand speed and good stamina. However, he doesn't really have any defense at all. He gets hit very easily. His chin doesn't seem to be as good as it used to be. I think he's taken a lot of shots, and since the Sergey Kovalev fight, he just hasn't looked the same to me. And I actually would favour Gvozdyk in that fight. I think he could beat Cleverly, and I would not even be surprised if it was by stoppage. So, if Gvozdyk wants a quick route to a title, all he has to do is try and get himself a shot at Nathan Cleverly. Because honestly, I think that the majority of contenders out there at light heavyweight would beat Cleverly. Um, Obviously, you've got Beterbiev too, the Russian who's based in Canada. Beterbiev just a monstrous puncher. I mean, a very, very dangerous guy to fight. I mean, he was a very, very seasoned amateur too. So, I think that even though Beterbiev has even less fights, I mean, he's even less experienced as a pro. I just think he's too dangerous at this stage. I think he'd probably knock Gvozdyk out. So yeah, at this stage, for Gvozdyk to challenge anybody at the top, any of the top 10, or for him to win a title, his best bet is a fight against Nathan Cleverly. But he's still in the development stage, so I think he's a good fighter. It was good that he got that stoppage against Chilemba. It's a good victory for him. So yeah, I was impressed by Gvozdyk to some extent, impressed with his athleticism, his volume, and the fact that he got the stoppage against a very, very seasoned and durable opponent. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.